Welcome back, Keepers of the Flame. Okay, going to do a few reads and then possibly go live later tonight. I can't make any promises. I'm setting up meetings and whatnot. Got finished with those this morning, so I got a little bit of time. Going to see what's going on with the collective on this day. And not celebrating holidays here. Just dressed up for the meets. What are we feeling? Cold like a turd? Alrighty then. Rosebud Tarot it is. Alright. So, hope y'all are doing well. If you're spending this day away from people, this is a good place to be. Okay. We celebrated the solstice a little bit, had a nice meal, chillaxed, watched a movie. That was about it. The best way to change things is to boycott things that are feeding the billionaire class. So, that's what kind of channel this is. We put our money where our mouth is. Speaking of which, there's a cool movement that's just starting to take off where communities are going to be taking charge of themselves because obviously everything else is falling apart. So, like free clinics, growing your own food, neighborhood mechanics, neighborhood fixer-uppers, all that good gravy. So, I think it's called the Four Corners because it's based off the Native American process of living before colonialism took over. So if that's something you're interested in, and don't feel like you don't have anything to add to the community, there's always something to add, even if you're just sitting with people who need somebody to sit with them. Somebody to listen, somebody to lend an ear. Just because you're not physically able to do anything doesn't mean you can't provide anything. Plenty of people out there that need company. So, if that's something you're interested in, I cannot remember the website, but I'm sure if you Google it, it'll be something similar to that. Why is that shaking? Hang on, look too. Oh. It's stuck on my lamp. I apologize. So now that I've made you want to puke, my bad. Sorry about that. Alright, what else? I'm just waiting for Spirit to tap again. I think this might be it. Okay. This is the one. Here we go. What does the collective need to know today? If anything comes through is like, you know, how you're feeling about the situation. Getting calm and collected, peaceful, blissful, unbothered. And the moment I said peaceful, blissful, cards started popping up. Alright, so we've got two up right over here. So we've got Emergence in the reverse. Yeah, it's gestation period. 9 of Swords in reverse, though. Not losing any sleep over it. Good. It's the Sun in reverse. They're not going to see... Oh. Wow. This makes me want to cry. They're not going to see this about you. Whoever you're not hanging with today is not going to see this about you. And that might be a good thing. She's precious. But a sweetie. There you go. That's why you're not emerging. Wherever you're not going, you're not losing sleep over it. Then you've got the Three of Earth and the Devil. And the bottom, you've got Nine of Fire and the Lovers. Okay. So what this feels like is, so in the readings that I do not do archaic bullshit here. We read the energy, not archaic narratives. So the Devil is the gatekeeper. The Devil is the gatekeeper. Okay. And those looks like mutual agreement right there. I'm gonna get flagged by YouTube. That's fine. Flag me. Do it. Do it. So then, with the Three of Earth here, there might be like some sort of narrative around working with other people to get through the gate. Okay. The Devil is basically the keeper of fear, the keeper of chains. So he is going to make you look at your chains. He's going to hold that, or she, in this circumstance, she is going to hold up that torch. Are you still demonizing snakes? Like an archaic parakeet? Is that what you're going to do with your time and attention and energy? Okay, well then you gotta stay here. You gotta stay in the chains. You gotta stay in the narrative, if that's what you choose. That's the narrative you picked. That's the narrative you're going to receive. For all of you that want to get unbound from that, I feel like there's a third party helping you with this. Maybe somebody from childhood. Look at that. That's somebody you're going to grow a garden with. And have fun doing it. And then with this child here, maybe it's a childhood. It could be a childhood friend. It could be a childhood dream. An opportunity that maybe you thought had passed you by, because it's Pentacles here, Three of Earth. So it could be a golden opportunity you thought was long gone, a pipe dream you thought was never going to happen, some sort of narrative that has nothing to do with, maybe the people in your past that were causing this that are now gone. Because I started off with the intention to see where we were at today with not hanging out with people. And then you've got the Nine of Fire at the bottom of the deck. I'm gonna let that sink in. Now, to me, because I'm a weirdo, this looks like, down here, this looks like a cat's face or something. And you planted something in your feminine space here. Your feline space. Now, I'm doing... Crap, I left it in my bed. I am reading the Star Nations, and the felines are part of the Star Nation. And they are the protectors of humans. The warrior spirits protecting humans. Anybody who owns a cat already knew that. Or, I apologize. I completely misspoke. I sincerely apologize. Anybody who is owned by a cat knows that. Anyone who coexists with a cat. How about that? So... she is still unbothered. So you planted something here in your feminine. And now you're like, all right, I trust it's going to grow. I'm ascending. And the only thing that's really like catching me here, other than that Stellar Nation screaming my name in the background there, which hence the feline warriors, is that these people look like the same person. So be leery of cognitive dissonance happening, or maybe wanting to have this dream over here and have this dream over here. Just make sure it's sustainable. I'm not telling you not to. I'm not telling you can't have it. And that might be the third party here, is where you're making negotiations. And maybe it's two, even though it's wands, maybe it's the two hemispheres of your brain working together with those neurotransmitters for the galaxy. As the universe, so the soul, my loves. Okay, then you got the lovers. Nice little garden here. And there's two people again. Only these are masculine and these are feminine. Somebody needs to tend the garden. Right? Somebody needs to take care of those roses. While we'll explore the cosmos. That is fascinating. That's really freaking interesting. I'm gonna give you these two cards so you can see it for yourself. See that? Two feminines planted the garden and now are climbing up and out. Masculine tending the garden, but still under that. It's not a glass ceiling, it's just an awning made of metal, but it speaks glass ceiling to me. That hole between them right here, just, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is, but it's screaming at me and I can't figure it out. Let's see. Now, the closer I look at the card, they almost look like two females with their hair up underneath their top hats. Interesting. Okay, there's the snakes too. There's the snakes right here. The portal, the guardian to the gates. So, there's a story. Crap, that book's in my bed too. I sleep with books. I don't have lovers, I have books. There is a narrative that is the inspiration for this channel, which is Lilith, Keepers of the Flame. And the narrative that we've been lied to about, and I don't think it's even online, but it's, the book is called Lilith, Keepers of the Flame by Mary Blue. And the narrative of originally when the planet was created by both the female and a male god. Okay. I don't ask you to subscribe to any of that, but the narrative behind it is sorry, I'm trying to figure out if that's, well, there's forget-me-nots in there, but that's, oh, those are forget-me-nots. Okay, roses and forget-me-nots. Okay. There's, the narrative is that Sophia gave birth to Lilith, and Lilith was her daughter. And Lilith and Lucifer, Lucy, the morning star, aka Aphrodite, aka Venus, our morning star, this planet was their gift. Right? And Lilith was in charge of creating all the beasts on the planet. And if you dug any deeply into Venus and Aphrodite and their backstories, and they rule Taurus and Libra, but Taurus is the earth. So Lucy probably was in charge of the plant life on that planet, and Lilith was in charge of the animals and other creatures. Yeah, other creatures. But she's got a love letter in her hand. Right there. Love letter. Interesting. Okay, so these are actually two females. I thought they were two males, and I was like, that's peculiar. This is a feminine deck. I don't know, androgyny, here we come. It could be. I mean, if you pay attention to the biology that science doesn't want us to pay attention to, that could be the case. This is really interesting, you guys. Okay, so there's, oh, okay. It could be for someone, not all of you. It could be for some, or, okay, so there's a couple different things. Sorry. Dialing it back. Okay. Give me a second. Let me get the first one out. So some of you could be isolating from family because you are of the LGBTQ community. Some of you could be isolating from your family because they are, maybe you're not of the community, but they're still prejudiced against the community. Some of you could actually be going through surgical changes. Like currently in the moment, if you are, I hope may healing be upon you, my love. The Mage in reverse. Okay. So what this feels like, and that is the Magician. Okay. So, alright, we'll talk about that then, I guess. So sometimes, unconsciously, especially people with dogmatic narratives running, whether they mean to or not, it's default in their subconscious, even if they're telling you that, they're fine with it and whatever else. It's hard to believe in a storybook and a narrative and a mythology that demonizes the LGBTQ community, whilst telling people that, yes, I'm going to keep my faith, I'm going to keep my mythological beliefs, but I don't hate you. That's a very difficult, and we don't need to get into the mental gymnastics that one has to be going through constantly to stay in that narrative. But what I can tell you is that the energy is real. It doesn't lie. And the reality of the situation is they hold that energy. They're just in denial about it. Maybe they don't actually believe those things. They don't want to believe those things. They don't feel those things. But they do not get it energetically, on an energetic level, what it does to the subconscious. They're just kind of oblivious to that fact. And again, maybe they don't actually believe that, but the cognitive dissonance, when it's reigning over the human, is going to be overridden by the subconscious undercurrent and the central nervous system, which is constantly tinged on in the Abrahamic narratives, because they're all trauma-based. All of the narratives are trauma-based. If you don't do this, you're going to be fucked. If you blah 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 blah, you're gonna be fucked. And there's a lot of people out there that are like, no, I don't believe that. I don't go to church. I don't go to mosque. I don't go to synagogue. I don't do any of that stuff. So no, I don't believe any of that stuff. Blah 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 blah. But there's a cognitive dissonance. If you're gonna attach yourself energetically to a storyline and think you can vet the storyline that was created there specifically for those outcomes, it's, you know, and you feel that in your system, you feel that in your heart chakra, you feel that in your crown, you feel it in your whole body. And even though they might not actually dislike you on any level, the energy that's coming off of that pattern that has been produced doesn't change. It doesn't change the narrative. It does not change the fact that with their battery, their vital life force energy, they're still supporting that via their energy. So when you pick up on that, you begin to realize, you know, the snake narrative is preventing you from walking through the portal, through the gateway to the other side. Just a different perspective. And again, it's not above or below. It's on a different line of subconscious undercurrent. It's on a different projection path. It's on a different time-space continuum. It's just different. It's not better or worse. It's just different. And it has a particular outcome. And, you know, there's a lot of people that don't want to see that. They don't want to admit to that. They don't want to, you know, believe that they could have been conned into something like that. And that's none of your business. They need to deal with what they need to deal with. But you are seeing through this here, and you're like, fuck this, I'm out, Girl Scout. Because you've been through this for far too long underneath this particular thing that you decided to not go to today. Okay. Yeah, so that produces, so the Abrahamics are a form of blood and black magic. This is why they don't want you to look into witchcraft and all that other stuff, because they invoke a lot of blood and black magic. Hence the sacrifice, the human sacrifice, the animal sacrifice, the smearing of the blood, blah, 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 blah. And all the other bodily fluid stuff they do. And the coercive control. That's black magic. When you presume to take will over anybody else by means of force or gaining followers, if you will, by trying to recruit people into said whatever, that's a form of black magic. It just is. I didn't make the rules. Okay? But it is a form of black magic. And then you've got the King of Swords in reverse at the bottom of the deck, and then you've got the World in reverse. And oftentimes people who join religions don't say, hey, let's watch the world burn, shall we? That's not their goal. That's not their narrative. They want to do good in the world. But the problem is because the narratives have been so corrupt, there's no energetic positivity, and we can tell by just looking and observing what's happening in the world. This is the fruit of all this labor going into basically the 1%, the hierarchy's pockets. That's all religion is for. And again, they have the right to do that, but you have the right to withdraw and say, you know what? I need to stay true. I need to stay true to myself. I need to tend to my own garden that I planted a long time ago and then abandoned. Ooh. Sorry, spirit's coming through. Hot and heavy. Hot and heavy. Where are we at? Okay. I do not feel like any clarity on this. Okay, wait. There's a few other narratives that could be happening. So if you're not part of the LGBTQ community, they could be causing a lot of cognitive dissonance with some other narrative. Maybe they have, and even if you're not religious, maybe they have some sort of structure that you know, you're supposed to be doing this, but you're like, I did that already and I need out of here. I need to escape. and they want you kind of under a dome of some sort, bound, trapped, not becoming more conscious. So okay, we're gonna have that conversation. Okay, so this is doozy. Buckle up, buttercup. Okay, so we can't love when we're in trauma. There's no way. When your central nervous system is constantly being activated, there will never exist any sort of love of any kind. It won't. It can't. It's physically impossible for any sort of love, compassion, reasonable empathy, not the suicidal empathy that seems to be going around right now, but the actual genuine, I'm a human, I live here, I know this sustains me, I coexist with animals, plants, and all these other beautiful, wonderful things, and I honor that. I can't step into that mentality. It's physically impossible for you to comprehend ways to move forward in the world when your central nervous system is constantly being poked and prodded by various whatevers. It's physically impossible. You cannot hold love in your heart when trauma is present. Okay, and that's going to devastate a lot of people that have a history of trauma, because that means that, yeah, and I'm in the same boat, never experienced love, but I'm learning how to cultivate it in myself by being safe in my body, irregardless of what's happening on the outside. And ooh, is it different? It's very different. And the reason why you kind of have to get away from these people is because they will come in anytime anything happens that's unconventional in your life. Anything. It could be anything. It could be, I'm going to start a business teaching classes how to be safe in the body. And they're going to come in and be like, the fuck you are? What the hell are you? Who the fuck do you think you are? Who the fuck? Who the fuck? Get the fuck out. That kind of narrative, right? Okay, so that's why those people kind of have to be sifted out. This is why the vast majority of people on the planet are starting to self-isolate to find their inner peace so they can find their tribe and vibe the fuck out doing their soul's purpose. Okay, so again, safe in the body, safe and grounded in the body. One, you need to conquer the breath. You want to get past that bitch? You need to conquer the breath. Okay? You need to conquer it. Have complete and utter control about it. My thing is I hold my breath. When I get panicked, I hold it. Okay, so then I need to start remembering, okay, don't need to turn blue in the fucking face. Just take a deep breath and come back to your body, right? Because that holding your breath is your spirit leaving your body. Spirit is breath. That's Latin for breath. Spire. Spirit. Breath. Okay? Go look it up. Look up the etymology of fucking everything. Okay? So, it's becoming a very in-depth long read. Okay. Breath. Alright? Then, rather than demonizing, like all these psychologists want to, oh, your evil, nasty, disgusting central nervous system being hijacked by blah, 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 blah. Nope. You gave that power to that person. Call it back. You know how you do that? Get into your breath. And then you talk to your central nervous system. You talk to it. Hey, babe. How you feeling? I apologize for putting you in that predicament. I will refrain from doing that in the future. But for right now, you're safe. I got you out. I got your back. You're okay. You're the fuck okay. Okay? So now, a good way to do that through meditation is you cup. It doesn't matter which hand. Left, right. Now, this is your left is your receiving, right is your giving. So if you want to give some love, cup right at the base of the neck, right where that bone space is, cup it. And if you want to understand in depth, get into some Reiki practices. But what you can do first is rub your hands together for 30 times, 30 seconds, however many, and then either over the heart or over the belly button. So sympathetic, parasympathetic, okay? And you can switch hands throughout your meditation, but do it and talk, get intimate with it, get deep. Talk to it like it's your lover. Talk to it like it is the only thing that you need to be concerned with. Your sole purpose on earth is to get intimate and freaking vibe out with your subconscious. There you go. Flop you. Wow. Okay. Did not see that coming. Okay, so get intimate with it and don't be afraid of intimacy because it's you. Okay? If you turn around and self-sabotage yourself, be like, okay, you. Okay, me. I see what you did there, and I understand where that pattern is coming from. We're going to do it again. We're going to try again. We're going to pick ourselves up. Not by our bootstraps, because that's fucking impossible. But we're going to pull our big girl panties up. And we're going to blah, 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 and we're going to get back to square one. What do we need? What do you need from me? How can I love you to the fullest extent today? Just start with the day. Don't put it out further than that. Or 10 minutes or 2 minutes. Okay? And start trusting it. Say, I know you're here to keep me safe. I honor that. But I also need to live my life. So let's find some compromises. Okay? One universal law for the... Thank you. Okay. The law of relativity and the law of truth. The law of relativity. You are divinely perfect. Live your truth. Ooh. Love unconditionally and create healthy boundaries. Okay? So those are two. So again, stop the shame for whatever. Unless you if you hurt somebody, if you genuinely hurt somebody, apologize. Don't just be like, oh, that sucks. Apologize. Say, dang, I was in my trauma state. I apologize for what I said, what I did in my trauma state. Is there any way I can make it up to you? Whatever it is. Okay? But then start living from your truth. Okay? And those healthy boundaries are going to help you significantly. Okay, let that activate you for a hot second. Okay, and this is the deck. Alright. Okay. Wow, that was a lot. Okay.